So spin casting is the or roto casting. I mean, there's two different things. Roto casting is where it rotates over 360 degrees in all directions, kind of like a gyroscope. Spin casting is where it's on a flat surface and it spins, and then you pour material down the middle, and then it throws it out to the side to be able to fill the cavities. So basically, what it is it's a record player. We're all familiar with record players, right? And if you imagine a record player that instead of spinning at 45 or 72, spins at like 4,500, okay? It spins really, really fast. Okay, so this is a spin casting mold, and these are to make button eyes from the movie Coraline. If you've ever seen the movie Coraline, that's what I make these for. These are Halloween, like cosplay button eyes. I actually sell them with toupee tape so that you can, and you can see through them and stuff like that. So anyways, so yes, and these basically sit, as you can see, like so inside here. So this is the top where you've got the hole, okay, and then you line your two molds together like this, okay, and so this sits on the record player, okay, it's not really a record player, and you clamp it down so it doesn't fly away, and and then what it does is it spins very fast, okay, and then you mix up your material and you pour it down the hole, and as you're pouring it down the hole, it does much like, you know, when your centrifugal force forces the material out, and it also forces the material is heavier, so it forces it out, and then the air is pushed in. Okay, what is the casting medium? Well, that's the cool thing about spin casting or rotocast. Spin casting, not rotocasting, Paul. Spin casting, you can use any material that will flow. So this happens to be like 2-part resin. Okay, it's like it's called onyx. It's from Smooth On. It's a 2-part resin, but you can even use molten lead, or just as long as your mold can withstand it. This mold material is too soft to be able to take hot metals, but you can make molds out of like high temp silicones, and you can actually pour hot metals into it as well. That's actually how they make the little lapel pins that we all see. They do spin casting for it, and they'll put all the pins in the pin backs in there, and then they actually create these molds. And if you notice, there's like this little spirograph thing here that these little channels here are for the air to escape. These channels here are for the material to flow in, and these actually go against the direction of the spin, so the air doesn't, because otherwise the material will go into it. So this is where it allows the air to escape. And they do the same thing with doing pin backs. And so you can take like zinc, you know, like hot zinc, and kind of pour it into it. I actually have a depositor for hot metals that sits right above it, and it basically, you just heat up the material, and then this is spinning, and then you just open up the cavity slowly, and if you notice, I've got a divot here, so it hits this divot and then kind of spins out in there while it's cooling, and then it cools down and you can pull the pieces out. I have a wall built around my spin caster so that I pour the material in and it sits up about 8 inches. And if it does come out, it spins to the walls, and you should see the walls of the thing that it's in. Yes, it is bubble free. Yeah, as you can see here, they are bubble free, which is really nice. So now the tool that I use, it's a blade sharpener. That I got. It was like $100. You can buy a spin caster for like $4,000. But I bought a tool sharpener that you basically adhere a piece of sandpaper to the top, and then you lay your tool down on it, and it spins, and you just kind of sharpen your tools. Well, what I did is I put a rheostat on it so I can adjust the spin ratio, and then removed their plate, and then bolted 4 bolts into it so that I can put there's a top and a bottom plate on it, and I can put my molds in there and screw them down so that they're tight so the mold doesn't go anywhere, and it works great. And it cost me like $200 total. And I use a cardboard box for my walls, so it sits inside of a cardboard box bolted to a heavy board, so it sits down in the center, and then I just plug it in, turn the rheostat on, which a rheostat is an adjustable speed, like a dimmer for your lights. And I just, depending on the size, the weight of the mold, that's why you need to adjust the speed. And you don't want it to spin too fast, because if it spins too fast, gravity will open up your molds and all the material will come out. So you got to find that kind of sweet spot. So, but it works really, really nice for doing plastic parts, you know. So that's what it is. Spin casting's it's good. And so like if I have to make a bunch of these button eyes, so I can make 6 at a time. Now I could probably 3D print these out of resin in the same, no, because I can do 6 of these every 20 minutes. I could probably do about 40 of these on resin now, out of black resin, and then clean them up and send them in about an hour. So, I mean, spin casting for these probably not as good anymore as doing the resin printer, but for doing pins and other parts, it actually is beneficial. And using the resin printer or 3D printer, I can actually print the part that will go inside a spin cast mold if I have to make multiples. So I could actually, because like this 6 buttons that you see here and all these little spindles, I had to build that. 24 karat button eyes. You'd have to get a really high temp metal. If you're going to go into a really, really high temp like that, you'd need to use vulcanized rubber to be able to withstand the heat of pouring something that hot into it. It's a centrifugal force forces out the air, and that you can cast multiples at once. Yes, that's the benefit. No air and casting multiples. You don't really cast over one piece in a spin casting. You do multiples, and it's fast turnaround. If I was doing hot metal, it's 3 minutes is all it would take, and so I could do an entire set in hot metals every 3 minutes